What's up, you guys? If you're new, my name's Cassandra. Welcome. I'm a mom of 3, and today I'm going to be showing or sharing with you guys how you can save half on your monthly grocery bill. I recently found out that after paying your mortgage or your rent, the next biggest income for families, at least in America, is your grocery bill, like your food bill, whether that be groceries, eating out, take-in, all of that, which was literally blew my mind. I mean, it makes sense, but I guess I had never really thought about it. And I'm like, I just really wanted to make a video on how I saved money on my grocery bill, how you could easily cut your grocery bill maybe in half or at least in a fourth. I mean, and these are super easy tips and hacks that I've learned over the years. Basically, I grew up super duper poor, so I learned just from experience and out of necessity. So I have a whole shebang of notes here sitting in front of me. I'm going to share with you guys how I save money on my grocery bill and without using coupons at all. I hate coupons. I've tried to use them in the past. I've gone on and off on using coupons, but for me it's just a lot of work for not a lot of reward, at least in my personal opinion. So don't come for me. I know people love coupons. If that's your thing, that's super awesome. I mean, I love to can and garden, and that's probably not some people's thing, so that's how I save money in one way. But I'm gonna go down my list here and share with you guys basically how you can save a ton of money on your groceries. I'm also gonna bring you guys along, show you guys the inside of my fridge, my freezer that's like up here in my kitchen attached to my fridge, but I also have 2 chest freezers down in my basement. I'm gonna show you guys those, and my food storage. So just hang in there. We're gonna be moving around a lot, and I'm gonna show you guys basically by showing you how I actually put these into use. So my first big tip is going to be to utilize your leftovers. When you're throwing away leftovers, you're literally throwing away money. Utilize them, make them into something else, change them, and if you're not going to use them, put them in a baggie and freeze it. I don't care how little, and you're like, oh, we're never gonna eat this. I promise you, you will have a day where you do not feel like cooking, and you're gonna go down in your freezer and find that you have a meal in there that you already made, and all you have to do is either throw it in the oven, throw it on the stove, and reheat it. And that saves you money, because instead of going and buying takeout or ordering in or whatever you're gonna do, you're gonna go downstairs and find that you already have a meal in your freezer. Freeze them. Please, just freeze it. Just put it in a baggie and freeze it. So what I mean by utilizing leftovers is, I'll insert a clip over me talking right now, but just this week I made a huge batch of spaghetti sauce, and normally what I would do if I wasn't going to use it is throw it in a baggie, freeze it. However, I decided to take that spaghetti sauce that we had eaten just over plain spaghetti noodles and make it into spaghetti pie, because I also had leftover spaghetti noodles. So I already had everything cooked. It was like a pre-cooked meal. All I had to do was layer it in a pan, throw some cheese on top of it, throw it in the oven. Use your leftovers. You do not understand how much money you're wasting when you throw away leftovers. And my biggest tip on making sure that you use your leftovers, so this is my fridge right here in my kitchen. What we tend to do with our leftovers, by the way, real life, I didn't clean this out. We have a shelf in our fridge that we use specifically just for leftovers. This keeps things from getting lost or buried. So other than the caramel dip here. But this is that leftover spaghetti pie. We have about half of a 9x13 pan left. This is some ground turkey. I use these on like salads during the week, so I've got some of that left. This is leftover, this is like kielbasa and broccoli and potatoes. These are sheet pan pancakes that I make, and I just will make a whole pan. The kids eat them for breakfast, and then I just put in the fridge what we have left over. I'll nuke them in the microwave, and the kids will have pancakes all week. And by cooking them on a sheet pan, you mix up the batter like you normally would to cook them on the stove. Lay it out on a sheet pan that you've sprayed with like cooking spray, olive oil, or Pam, whatever. Throw it in the oven at 350 until they're cooked. Usually it takes 10 to 15 minutes, and then you have a whole shebang of pancakes for the week. Some leftover pasta sauce here, so that's up here. We use these, we'll make like hot ham and cheese sandwiches or grilled cheese sandwiches, and my kids prefer to dip theirs in pasta sauce versus regular tomato soup. I still have some leftover spaghetti sauce up here, and today's the last day, so I'm going to throw this in a Ziploc bag and throw it in my freezer so it doesn't go bad. And what I think I'm going to do is add this pasta sauce in with this sauce and then freeze it. This is meat for tomorrow, but tonight, because we have so much leftovers, I'm not cooking dinner tonight. We're gonna eat through these leftovers, so People can do salads or nachos with those. This is enough for probably one person, two people maybe, and tons of spaghetti pie left. If the kids want pancakes, maybe they could do pancakes. And then since we are doing leftovers tonight, I put some buns in my oven. These are gonna rise, and we'll have fresh buns with our leftover dinner to make it not feel like it's super all just leftovers. I also want to show you guys a prime example on using your freezer to freeze things that you're not going to eat. This is homemade pumpkin pie that my mother-in-law made for Thanksgiving. She gave us a whole pan and we weren't eating it fast enough, so I cut it into chunks, put them in these bags, and I froze them with 3 or 4 pieces in them at a time, so I can take these out, defrost them, and we can have pumpkin pie all throughout the year. I have 4 or 5 of these baggies with a couple pieces in them, and we'll go through those. Utilizing your freezer, these Go-Gurts, I always buy 2 boxes, and I put one in my fridge and one in my freezer, and then I'll pull these out when we run out of Go-Gurts for the kids' snacks, and we have more Go-Gurts. Putting anything in the freezer is like putting the pause button on all of your food from going bad. So if it's gonna go bad and you're not gonna use it, throw it in the freezer, pause it, pull it out, defrost it, you're hitting play again, and it's ready to go. Does that make sense? Another huge thing I'm gonna tell you, and you're gonna hate me for it, is you need to meal plan. If you're going to cut back on your grocery budget, you need to have a plan. You can't just go in there willy-nilly. It's never going to work. I will link down below all my meal planning videos. I meal plan for a whole month at a time, every single meal for my family of 5. So if you're needing some advice or how I do that, those videos will be linked down below if you need help and you don't know where to start. Another huge thing is to not buy prepackaged foods. We all do it. I do it. I buy them out of convenience. Everybody does, but you're paying for that convenience to have the packaged meals. And there are some things I'm just not good at yet, like pie crusts. I've tried to make my own pie crust. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. So I find that having backup pie crusts, like store-bought crusts in my freezer, help a lot because sometimes I just need them. I'm not that good at making bread. I'm not a baker, okay? Like, I'm not good at pie crust, I'm not good at bread, I'm not good at rolls. It's just, I tend not to have the patience to like mess with it and try to get it perfect. So I still buy those from the store just out of convenience. But those boxed dinners, I mean, I buy those too sometimes, but you're paying out the butt for pre-made boxed mac and cheese or hamburger helpers, or your frozen meals are really where they come in at a high price. Those boxed dinners really aren't super bad if you're thinking about it. I mean, they're like $1 or maybe $2 for the package, but when you're talking, you're buying a $10 frozen lasagna. If you're making lasagna throughout the month, just double your recipe, make 2 and freeze 1. That way you're still getting the convenience of having the prepackaged frozen dinner that all you have to do is throw in the oven, but you made it yourself, and I guarantee you you're making it for less than $9 that they sell them in the freezer section at Walmart. Another huge thing is to buy in bulk, and I would say buy in bulk the most that you can store and the most that you can afford. Just how it is. Obviously, if you don't have anywhere to store 10 pounds of rice, don't buy 10 pounds of rice. And if you can't afford to buy 10 pounds of rice, but you can afford to buy 5 pounds of rice, do that. Don't like go yourself broke trying to buy rice. But like me, I buy 5 pounds or 10 pounds of rice at a time, and then I only have to buy rice every 2 or 3 months versus buying 1 pound of rice and having to buy it every single month. It breaks down to unit price basically, and they should have those right next to the price at Walmart. You'll look down, it'll say unit price or price per unit or price per pound or whatever it is, and 9 times out of 10 you are going to save money buying the bigger option versus your little option. It's just how the world works, unfortunately. Buy your generic brand. Buy the generic brand. Here's what I found out recently that like blew my mind, but it really shouldn't have. If you're looking at the great value brands like cream of chicken soup, you're gonna pay $1 for it or $1.10, whatever it is. So let's take like cream of chicken soup, for example. If you're gonna buy Campbell's cream of chicken soup, you're probably gonna pay $1, $1.50, maybe $2. But if you're looking at the great value brand at Walmart and it's 49 cents, a lot of the times they're made in the same factory. Like Walmart doesn't have its own factory to produce cream of chicken soup. They're produced in the same factories, the same manufacturers as Campbell's, but at the end of the production line, they're just putting a great value sticker on the outside versus a Campbell's label. It's the exact same thing. They don't have their own, or if you're talking about like great value cans of corn. Walmart doesn't have their own cornfields and their own corn manufacturers to can these cans of corn. They're going to people that already make cans of corn. They're producing the same product and they're just putting the Walmart sticker on the outside of the can of corn versus whatever the leading brand for canned corn is. Buy the generic brand. It's different when you're talking about like an actual product like Lucky Charms or Oreos. Like that's their product versus something that's more generically made like corn, green beans, baked beans, things like that. So I hope that that makes a little bit of sense. Buy it on sale, freeze it. Like I said, you can get anything, put it in the freezer, you are hitting the pause button on the expiration date, and when you bring it back out and you thaw it, you're push and play. So just buy it if it's on sale, if you know that you go through it a lot, you use it a lot. Like around the holidays, butter usually goes on sale because everybody's baking. So I bought like 12 pounds of butter and I threw it all in my freezer. And then all through the holiday season when I was baking, making homemade frostings and all that stuff, I would just pull my butter out of the freezer. It was good to go. Even if you're looking at like the discount shelf at Walmart, they have those bakery shelves. You buy the donuts, buy the bread, buy the muffins, bring them home, put them in your freezer if you're not gonna eat them right away, and then pull them out when you're ready to eat them. And you just bought, you know, instead of paying $6 for those packages of muffins, you paid $2.50 because they were getting close to their use by date. It's another huge way to save yourself some money on your grocery budget. Another way that I save a ton of money on my grocery bill every month is by using pickup services. So in my area, I don't have like I don't even know what it's called. Basically, when you go to Walmart and they deliver your groceries, I live too rurally for that. So the only option I have in my area is to go and do the actual pickup service where they do the shopping and you go and they just put it in your trunk and then you drive home. The great thing about those is, for the first thing, they reduce impulse buys so bad because you're not walking through the store and your kids aren't grabbing Oreos and putting them in the cart, or maybe you're not grabbing the Oreos and putting them in the cart, or the ice cream, or whatever it happens to be. When you're doing your shopping online through their app or whatever, it has a running total. You can physically see how much you're spending. And I know me personally, when I'm walking through a grocery store, I don't have my phone out, I don't have a calculator out calculating and adding up how much I'm spending. So when I'm doing it online, it's right there. I can see it, and I cannot tell you, I think every single time I've done a Walmart order and I've seen that total at the bottom of the screen being like $400 or $500, and I'm like, yeah, no. And then I go through my list and I'm like, okay, what do I really need and what do I really not need? And a lot of times I'm kicking out snacks, I'm kicking out that extra thing of soda I shouldn't be buying, or the 13 bags of chips I put in the cart while shopping. Or if you're in a store, you don't have the chance to do that because you're up at the register and they're like, $405 please, and you're like, here's my debit card or here's my credit card. You can't just like pick things off of the assembly line and put them back on the shelf. But if you're doing it online, you can just hit the delete button, they're gone, and you don't have to think about it. And I can't tell you how many times I've had a total like $400 or $500, and then I've exited out all those extra items and I'm back down to like $200 or $300, and I just saved myself a whole month's worth of groceries because I just overspent on things that I didn't really need that were all impulse buys at the end of the day. Okay, so the lighting is gonna be crazy down here, and I'm so sorry, but we are in my basement where we hold 2 chest freezers. We've got both of these chest freezers on a great deal. So this one right here, when my husband was in the military, we got this from the PX, and they have huge discounts on basically all things there for military personnel, and everything that you buy at the PX is tax-free. So we got this $200 chest freezer for I think $100, and we got a huge discount on it because it was their floor model and it was dented. So you guys can see, I don't know. But because it was dented, my husband just asked if we could get a discount on it, and they happened to say yes. So we got a $200 chest freezer for basically half off, which is insane. And this chest freezer here we just got, and we actually picked this up, or my father-in-law picked this freezer up for us on the side of the road. It said free, it works perfectly, and we got it for nothing. It was just really, really, really dirty on the inside, so a little bit of elbow grease, and it's clean. And so another way we save big money on our grocery bill is actually by hunting. And some people get a little grossed out when I talk about this, but where I live in the Midwest, it's a huge thing. It's a cultural thing, maybe, I don't know. But my husband hunts, my daughter hunts, and we got or I say we, but my husband got a buck this year, so we have some venison. We have venison in here. Huge packages of venison, and what we're going to do is, we've got a whole cardboard box in here. And everything in this box is actually going to the processor, and we're gonna make our own hot dogs out of it. And that way, when summer rolls around in a couple months, we're not gonna have to buy hot dogs, because we're gonna have pretty already made hot dogs that we got basically for the price of my husband's hunting tag. And because my husband's a veteran, he gets a discount on those tags. Obviously that doesn't apply to everybody, but I'm pretty sure, don't quote me, but if you're active duty or a veteran, you get discounts on fishing license, hunting license, game passes, all of those things you get a discount on. So that's another way we save huge money. We have bear meat in here. I'm pretty sure we have some elk meat in here. Like I said, venison. So hunting or even fishing is a great way to stock up your freezer for not a lot of money. Basically just your fishing license or your hunting license. And then of course your processing. So when we catch fish, we process it ourselves. But when we get a deer, my husband will butcher the deer himself, so we don't have to pay that fee. We just bring it to the processor, and they actually grind the meat down. They make it into summer sausage for us, which we use a lot on sandwiches or around the holidays for like sausage and cheese and crackers. We're gonna do brats with them and hot dogs and things like that around for the summertime that we'll use a lot. I also wanted to take this second to tell you guys some things that maybe you didn't know how to freeze or what to freeze. That'll save you a lot of money in the long run. Bread, any kind of bread, hot dog buns, loaves of bread, tortillas, English muffins, bagels, even breadcrumbs, you can all throw in your freezer to keep it fresh. Pull it out, defrost it, it's good to go. Like I said, I like to keep pie crusts on hand, so there are 2 pie crusts in here. I will throw these in the freezer, pull them out when I need them. Like I said, loaves of bread. We also have some Hawaiian rolls I threw in here because they were getting kind of close to the date, so I threw them in here. Lunch meat. We go through lunch meat a ton. I have one of these in my fridge right now, the other one in my freezer. A good rule of thumb to do is to put one in the freezer, one in the fridge. That way you have a backup ready to go. I tend to do that a ton. Cheese. You can freeze any kind of cheese. String cheese, sliced cheese, cream cheese, ricotta, sour cream, butter, like I mentioned, yogurt. You can freeze it all. If you ever are curious on what you can freeze and what you can't, just walk through your freezer section at your local grocery store, Walmart, Costco, Sam's, Aldi, wherever you shop, and just look at what's in some of those dinners or some of those breakfast items. Whatever you see in the freezer section, you can freeze. You can make it on your own. You can make your own breakfast burritos. You can make your own sandwiches, like breakfast sandwiches, even meat and cheese sandwiches, throw them in the freezer. Anything you see in the frozen section, you can do yourself and freeze. It'll save you a ton of money. So if you're ever curious, just take a look through your freezer section. It'll answer a lot of your questions. So the last thing before I wrap this video up is, I talked about this a little bit before in a video I posted, I think last week or 2 weeks ago. I'll link it down below. However, how I keep food from going bad in my freezers is when I go grocery shopping, everything I get that needs to be frozen goes down in my chest freezers and I freeze them. As I open up packages, I bring them up here into the fridge or the freezer attached to my fridge. That way, if I'm ever needing anything, I look in this freezer first. And if I don't see what I'm looking for, then I will go downstairs in my chest freezers and bring that package up, open it, and when I'm done with it, if I have extras, like a bag of frozen chicken or tater tots or whatever, I'll put it back in this freezer. That way, next time I need that item, I can come back and look in here and find the already opened bag. However, I'm not perfect. I mentioned this in that other video. I had 2 bags of open peas in here. I do miss things. It happens. I'm not perfect. So also, when you're making mistakes and you're learning, don't beat yourself up, because I do it all the time too. It happens. This is some of that clearance bread I bought. I got this whole bag. There were 24 of these 6-inch loaves in here. I got them for, I think, $3. This is in my latest grocery haul. I got these because they were close to sell by date. So I used them for a day or two, threw the rest of them in my freezer. Here's some of this cream cheese. And what I do sometimes is I'll buy this 2-pack and I'll open it and I'll put 1 pack in my fridge, 1 pack in my freezer, and that keeps me from, I'll have a backup when I need it, and it keeps it from going bad before I get the chance to use it. And a lot around the holidays, I would pull out a block of cream cheese or a couple blocks of butter out of my freezer, and I wouldn't use them. So then even after they had been in my fridge for a couple days and had defrosted, I would put them back in my freezer. So just a note, once you unthaw it, doesn't mean you need to use it. You can throw that bad boy right back in your freezer if you're not going to use it like you thought. But prime example here, like I've got an open thing of salmon. I've got, that's bear meat back there. There's some of those peas. A couple things of ice cream, open big bag of strawberries. This is a 4-pound bag. We use these for smoothies a lot. Like I said, we've got chicken here, open box of chicken nuggets. If I'm down in my chest freezer getting something else and I notice something that's been in there for a really long time, maybe it's starting to get freezer burned or it's just starting not to look that great, or a loaf of bread or something, I'll bring it up and put it in this freezer, because I look in this freezer every single day. Where my chest freezer is not so much. So I'll bring it up here, throw it in the freezer, or if it needs to defrost and I need to use it like the next day, I'll throw it in my fridge. That's why you see this steak in here. It's been in my freezer a little bit and it's on my meal plan for this month, but it wasn't on my meal plan till later, but it was starting to get really freezer burnt, so I threw it up here in my fridge to defrost. And since tonight we're eating through all those leftovers, tomorrow I'll cook that steak. It just keeps me from wasting food that I forgot about, especially in my chest freezers. Things can get buried, and now that I have 2 of them, I'm not circulating through my chest freezers every single month like I had been when I just had that small 3x3 chest freezer downstairs. So I'm trying to be more conscious of making sure that I'm not letting things get buried, and that's the best way I've found to do that. Just keeping this as this is the freezer we're eating out of, and my husband knows that, my kids know that, so we keep the stuff up in here. That way we actually eat it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. I have a ton more videos just like this planned for coming up throughout the year of 2021. So make sure you subscribe if you're new. You can follow me on Instagram. It's at Cassie and Crew. I show behind the scenes of almost all my YouTube videos over there on my Insta stories. Through the year of 2021, I plan on really breaking down my once a month grocery shopping into actual sections and how I do things, how to make a budget, how to make your grocery lists, which I have done videos like that in the past. I'll link those down below. What you can freeze, doing freezer tours, pantry tours, fridge tours, all of that stuff, because you guys seem to really like that content from me, especially revolving around my once a month grocery shopping hauls for my family, how you can start doing that for yourself and saving a ton of money. So I hope that you guys got some tips off of this video, if nothing else, showing you how you can cut your grocery bill in half, how you can save things, what you can freeze, what you can't. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in another video. Bye.
Whispers in the morning, whispers wakes me up. I can't hear your words, dear. Whispers that